Hey everyone, Arthur here with a bunch more Switch hidden gems and underappreciated games that I've recently dug up from underneath all the clutter in the humongous Switch library. If you have joined the channel recently for the Xbox 360 content, don't worry, I have been working on the next 360 video along with this one, so very soon a 360 video will be ready. Hope you enjoyed these Switch videos as well, because I've been making sure anyone can find new games for their platforms of choice, whatever they may be, by adding all availability options for each game in their detail cards. So alright, hope you enjoyed the list, welcome to the channel, this is From the Void.
Like I said, your tight beam to radio nostalgia from Mars. Breathe easy, kick back, and reminisce.
This time we begin with a beautiful game and a prime example of why I do this. This was not supposed to be a hidden gem, man. It's too good in so many ways. We're talking about The Cub. Let's get one thing out of the way first. The only drawback in this game is the length. This is a short game lasting about 3 hours, but those will be some well spent 3 hours. The Cub is surprisingly immersive and emotional, which are things most people don't expect from platformers, but they really elevate this game. The story here is apocalyptic. Humanity managed to make Earth's entire atmosphere toxic to themselves, so rich people fled the planet, leaving those who couldn't to perish. And now the humans who fled came back to see how the planet is doing. Everything is in ruins and overtaken by wildlife, the air is still toxic and mutations run rampant. And that's also true for your main character. You control a mutated human orphan raised by wolves. He comes across the corpse of one of the Martian humans, yeah, that's where humanity fled, and grabs their space helmet. And now you can hear the radio. Yeah, Martian radio, hell yeah. This is insanely immersive, you have no idea. You'll not only be hearing the wonderful Martian soundtracks composed for this game, but in between each song you hear the thoughts and preoccupations of humans who fled, and it's beyond well done. It's like GTA, the radio amps the game to another level with superb voiceover and writing.
We may have traded blue skies for pink, but don't forget, we still live and love under the same sun.
Then on the gameplay side, I found the platforming interesting. It has some trial and error involved. The solutions are not always obvious, with lots of swinging, sliding, and even minecarts. Very much an old school approach overall, so a great fit for those of us who grew up with the 16-bit platformers and such. But later on there will be some pretty cool surprises as well. Then graphics, I don't need to say anything, this is gorgeous, and it's also filled with cool collectibles to find, all from the time before the apocalypse, for some very interesting indirect storytelling. Pretty great game, The Cub, worth your consideration for sure, and as of the release of this video, the game is on sale for the lowest price yet of $8.99, pretty fair.
You're a tight beam to radio nostalgia from Mars. Music for the lost days of Earth.
Next is Mad Rat Dead. Yep, the rat is mad and the rat is dead. This tells the story of a lab rat that was experimented on until it died, but it was given a final day to live by the rat god and exact his revenge on the cruel humans who killed him. Hell yeah, great setting. This is a NIS America title, by the way, the unusual non-RPG entry from NIS America, and it's pretty famous in Japan, but I don't think it caught on in the West. This is a mix of platformer and rhythm game of all things. You have many moves as well as a whole bunch of combination of moves that you'll need to learn in order to succeed, like double jump dash gets you far away but you fall fast, while jump dash double jump, on the other hand, makes you fall slowly. There's a lot more like charged moves and ground pounds and enemy bumps. It gets really crazy and challenging. This is really tough and a long game too. Staying on the beat is not what's tough though, the platforming is. Rhythm is required to beat the stages before the timer runs out, that's it. So you need to move constantly on the beat because that makes you faster. It's awesome, they struck a great gameplay balance here. And the soundtrack is nothing short of stellar. Seriously, masterpiece soundtrack. Problem is the price. NIS is known for their high prices digitally, but that feels more reasonable when it comes to a role-playing game. $39.99 for Mad Red Dead feels like a lot, but like I said, the game is long, there's a lot here, but even then, you may want to go for the physical, since the difference is not even that much. Next is Togges. This reminds me of 3D Mario games in the visuals department, very colorful, and the shapes of the platforms brings me back to Super Mario Galaxy, but it differs completely in gameplay, so that's where the analogy ends. You control a little vacuum robot guy who looks and moves very similar to Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Oh look, the Mario analogy did not end. And this thing is capable of creating or vacuuming up the Togges guys. Your goal is to bring them to the fruit and other important objects, but you can't simply create Togges wherever you want willy-nilly, of course not. You can only do so when next to another Togge or one space away from one. So that's the whole gameplay dynamic. How to get your huge line of Togges to reach some pretty far away places. You'll have several different colors of Togges with different traits, like being able to stack more on top of one another. There will be many interesting environmental mechanisms to concern yourself with as well. So yeah, this is a pretty great game, man. Lots of fun and unique gameplay and a pretty long campaign with loads of stuff to do, which may justify the high price, or you can wait for one of the hefty discounts it gets periodically. Gunchucks. This next one has gunchucks. Those are nunchucks with a gun barrel on each end, dude. Let's go. This is Foregone. Foregone is a 2D action game, I would say. It does have a little bit of Metroidvania, but it doesn't really have that Metroidvania feel, with a deep focus on the exploration and finding ways to pass through obstacles and backtracking and getting all kinds of lost. It's much more about the action in a more linear progress. And it does that really well. The action is awesome, with a heavy emphasis on customization. You will need to teleport back to town to upgrade your stuff, buy new gear, and more importantly, allocate your skill points into some really meaningful passive skills. The skill tree has many bifurcations, forcing you to choose one over another, and it locks you out of the other one. And with that, the game prevents you from becoming too overpowered. Great balance here, including all the challenges, which are some of the best things in the game. This is super fluid, combat feels awesome, the game looks beautiful, gunchucks are the best weapon ever, so what's not to like? Try Foregone for sure. Next is the beautiful Out of Line. This is a puzzle platformer with a unique gameplay idea. You have a shiny spear that can be thrown to create platforms for yourself, to turn on devices that are far away, to be used as a lever, or even to jam gears, all in order to open the way for yourself and for the other guys that look like you and you need to help. Their existence is intriguing, which is amplified by the music, the gorgeous but oppressive graphics, the weird machine creatures, and the whole atmosphere here. Really immersive little game. It's a short one, but great all the way. The price reflects the short duration though, especially on sale, so do consider Out of Line. Now for some epic shooting action with Hell is Other Demons. This is great. It's a gauntlet-style shooter, meaning you are in tiny stages, surviving an onslaught of wave after wave of all kinds of demons. Their patterns are clever and interesting, and by defeating them, you gain currency to trade in for a whole bunch of new weapons, new special abilities, and passive skills, with some great synergy between all of it. So finding a loadout that fits your style is part of the fun here. There are two modes, arcade and story. Arcade brings a more roguelike loop, while story has predetermined stages. Both are great. This is really cheap for its quality. The gameplay is incredibly addictive, so do consider getting it, and it also counts with a super rare physical that is yet to reach super crazy prices, so maybe check that out too. Moving on to Dungeons of Dreadrock. This one looks very much like a Zelda game. The main character even wears a green hoodie, but this is actually 100% a puzzle game. It's all about carefully planning and timing your every input while predicting everything that may happen, because the place is full of traps all around, and more importantly, some enemies with interesting behaviors to learn. It keeps introducing new ideas like teleportation, and it's a lot of fun, I gotta say. If you're looking for a different kind of puzzle game, this is a great option. Dungeons of Dreadrock gets some crazy discounts frequently, so it's definitely worth a shot. Next is a great RPG hidden gem and one of the biggest surprises on the list, the 10th line. Okay, this is a really fantastic RPG that no one talks about. It has a lot going on for it. The story is really engrossing, the exchanges are well written, the gameplay is pretty ambitious, even outside of battle, where you have some pretty meaningful exploration in a side-scroller manner. You use your character's abilities to surpass obstacles and find hidden items, which is an aspect I love and should not be underestimated in RPGs. Then the combat is equally ambitious, with loads of enemies in battle, attacks having area of effect to consider. Defending is also interesting, where you can use each character to create a defense aura for each type of attack, melee, ranged, or magic. So yeah, the 10th line is full of stuff. The only real problem here are all the menus and interfaces that do not feel friendly to newcomers. So this game will require some effort to learn all the many things that it has to offer. But if you manage to overcome this obstacle, there is a deeply enjoyable RPG here. It also goes for super low prices nowadays. This next one is straight up a Contra clone to compensate for Konami, who keeps striking out with actual Contra games. This is Wild Dogs. Contra Operation Galuga just came out and it's another Contra blunder. Jeez man, what are we gonna do about Konami, guys? Seriously. But anyway, luckily the indie landscape is full of options for pretty much whatever game you like, and for the run and gun genre, a great option is this here Wild Dogs, which goes for a 8-bit aesthetic with some awesome looking and interchangeable color palettes, which I always enjoy, the traditional and brutally difficult Contra gameplay with several different weapons, over-the-top boss fights, and an ever-changing gameplay with shmup sequences, a lot of surprises, and even parts where you control the dog, not only for some cool platforming, but the little guy can even operate a mech for even more awesome destruction. Solid game, Wild Dogs, on the cheap side too, so check it out. Moving on to Anuchard. This brings me back some Terranigma feels with that distinctive isometric action RPG gameplay, and Terranigma is one of my favorite games of all time, so just for that I love this game. It's a simple but effective gameplay. You have a regular attack or a dash attack that functions unlike anything I've seen in games of this kind. If you don't touch any enemies while dashing, it functions simply as a dodge move, but if it connects, you dish out a powerful knockback attack that deals more damage and is necessary to remove enemy enemy's shields. This creates a very interesting dynamic to the combats. The dungeons are nice to explore, with interesting puzzles as well. I really enjoyed Anuchard, and you got a beautiful physical version from the great people at Premium Edition who have been knocking it out of the park with that recent Switch lineup. Check them out for sure. Next is one that a lot of people may have played on mobile, but I feel like for the console audience this remains pretty underappreciated. We're talking about Badland. Okay, this is not gonna sound great at first, but please stick with me for just a little bit. The gameplay here is similar to the one made infamous by Flappy Bird. Yeah, hold the button to flap up, let it go to fly down. And the stage keeps scrolling right automatically, so you have to avoid being swallowed by it. However, this game counts with some really meaningful gameplay ideas that you wouldn't expect for a game of this kind, as well as some awesome level design, so you can rest assured this is not comparable to Flappy Bird. The physics in this game are outstanding. There are so many things you can interact with, break apart, roll on top of, explode, push and pull. It's awesome. And on top of that, there are several types of power-ups to pick up that modify things in amusing and interesting ways. You can become huge or tiny, slow or fast, bouncy or sticky, rolly or non-rolly, and you can clone yourself too, like dozens of clones at once. What's cool is that all this brings major implications to the gameplay. Like the sticky one not only forces you to have to avoid touching stuff more than ever, but it makes you immune to blades that would otherwise shred you to pieces. Getting huge makes you fall faster. When you have clones, you control all of them at once, but each one will occupy a different position, and they may even block each other's way. The roly power-up causes some serious traction that makes objects move, and so much more. It's impressive, truly, and it gets hectic as all hell. Do consider Badland. The game is much longer than it looks, and because it has been around for quite some time, it's really inexpensive, a bargain really. This next one is simply brilliant, Wildfire. This is 100% a stealth game, the way less common stealth genre, which is rare probably because it's hard to do right. Case in point is this here, Wildfire. What a well done game down to the details. Basically, bad guys invaded your village, burned it down to a crisp, killed many, and tried burning your guy on a stake. But something happens right then, and instead of dying, he gets imbued with firepower. With that, you can manipulate fire wherever you find it in the wild. Note that you can't create it, only claim it from a fire source, but with it you can basically set on fire anything that would naturally burn, and enemies and creatures will react accordingly, freaking out and fleeing, sometimes getting burned and dying. And as you go on, you improve your abilities and learn how to manipulate other elements of nature as well. So you can imagine the amount of work that went into programming all the things that can happen in this game, and it all feels right. It's pretty impressive. The focus of the game lies completely on the stealth aspect. Even though you have these awesome powers, you use it much more to cause chaos and distractions, to pass by unnoticed rather than to kill enemies. The game even gives you a reward incentive not to kill anyone. This game is pretty deep, impressive, and a joy to play. I loved it. A must get if you're into stealth games. Following up with Little Noah, Scion of Paradise. This is a pretty excellent action roguelike. The art style is very similar to Bravely Default. I even checked to see if the same devs made both games, but apparently not. Gameplay wise, this uses a similar idea to Ender Lilies. You attack using a bunch of familiars called Lilliputs. You assign each one to one of your attacks in a chain of up to 5, and that will be your combo. You can also assign a creature to the special attack. So you can imagine the insane number of possibilities for your attacks here. On top of that, you also have accessories, crystals, and a whole bunch of improvements to pretty much anything that will be permanent in typical roguelike fashion. What I love about Little Noah is how seamless everything feels. There is no need to learn anything intricate, everything feels immediately approachable and intuitive. I can't really explain how they do it, but even though the game has a lot going on, everything simply clicks. Great game here, guaranteed fun for action roguelike fans. Next is the amusing Rose and Camellia. This offers two things and two things only, so if you don't like both, don't even try this. Number one is the gameplay, which is a punch-out style brawler, but instead of boxer guys, this is full of 18th century women offending, outraging, and then slapping each other around to see who will become the Grand Madame of the Tsubaki Koji family at the top of high society. It's hilarious. And that's the second thing the game offers: humor. The exchanges are completely unabashed and over the top, offering a lot of silly humor, while at the same time criticizing high society, which I appreciated. But going back to the gameplay, this has two types of controls. You can do the slapping with touch controls in handheld mode, which is just like the original games that composed this collection offered in their mobile versions, or you can use the even better, in my opinion, motion controls with the Joy-Cons, which feels even more organic as you press A to prepare, then do a slapping motion to do the actual slapping. Dodging will be done by holding L and moving away from the opponent. You also learn some new slaps, which are hard to pull off but rewarding if you do. So yeah, this is a fun time for sure, but also kind of short, even considering the La Mulana crossover special chapter, and it's a shame that they didn't include the Fata Morgana crossover special chapter 2, but that may be coming in DLC later. Okay, now the most outrageously underrated game on the list. This is awesome and a prime reason of why I do these videos. This deserves a lot more recognition. We're talking about Eastern Exorcist. If you Google this one, you will see a couple of mild scores on the 7 range, but what's more important is that you won't see any major outlets reviewing this game, and furthermore, if you take the time to read the lower score from critics, what the critics said about the game, including in Metacritic, they all liked the game, without much of a clear reason for the score being 7 range. And if you look a little bit beyond, you'll find a whole lot of people who love this, and I'm adding my voice to that choir. This is an awesome action RPG. It reminds me very much of Odin Sphere or Muramasa in the best ways possible. The action is incredibly deep without being too complex to learn. It's mainly well balanced to avoid button mashing and spamming dodge moves. Basically, after several different types of moves, like a charged attack, a 1-2 combo, a downward smash, and many others, you get a flash of light that enables you to do a powerful hit if you press the button at the right time. This creates a great flow to the combat, and it looks freaking fantastic as well. And that's just the tip of the iceberg here. There are dynamic counter moves, special summon skills, imbuing your attacks with elements, and a lot more. The graphics are freaking awesome, accompanying the bombastic action incredibly well, and the story is cool too, where you have two characters with completely different scenarios and skills, so this begs for a second playthrough. I still have to tackle the second one with the male character, so I'm looking forward to doing that soon for sure. There's a lot more to say about this game, but suffice it to say, this is freaking awesome and you should try it out. Now the bonus section with some extra honorable mentions that for some reason or another didn't feel like they really fit the list. The first one is pretty obscure, even though it got a limited run release, and it's a way forward game too, but this is a bit too short, reason why it's on the bonus section. This is Catgirl Without Salad. You'll get a lot of humor here, beginning with the title, and Catgirl is completely clueless about pretty much everything, so some of the dialogues are pretty hilarious. This is a shmup, obviously, but the weapons are completely crazy. Your regular gun is the only normal thing in the whole game, but it causes very low damage, so it really sucks, while all the special guns cause way more damage, but they are all awkward and clumsy to wield. This one spreads golf balls around, this other one shoots Pac-Man, and you have to wait until it goes off screen to shoot another. The RPG gun makes that 8-bit Final Fantasy looking attack, but leaves Catgirl vulnerable. There is even a rhythm gun that asks you to press the right buttons in the right time, So yeah, every single special gun is super powerful, but very challenging to use. And while some people may hate this, I think it actually adds a lot of fun to this crazy game. Next is a very hidden gem called The Ambassador Fractured Timelines. This is a top-down twin-stick shooter, but not a frantic one at all. You don't have guns, this is medieval all the way. Instead, you shoot some spells, which drain your mana, so you can't abuse it, or your melee weapons. Yeah, there is no button for melee attacks here. If you have a sword, you throw it. Dagger, you throw it. They come back. Hammer, throw it. And because this one is heavy as heck, it stays there, so you'll have to pick it up. It's a fun combat gameplay that I really enjoyed. The visuals are not anything great, and I believe this is a more niche game, but a great one for sure. Check it out, The Ambassador. Next, I can't believe I didn't have this idea before. This bonus section is the perfect place to feature games on Kickstarter. Of course, I really want to help developers get their games out there and fund it, so this is perfect. First, we have Paper Sky. This is a joy. There's a demo out, so check it out. It's from the same developer of Crumble, a similar idea to that as well. I enjoyed Crumble a lot, and Paper Sky is looking even better in every way, including the visuals, which are stunning, and the paper plane and other paper formations idea is just perfect. This is getting close to the goal, so do help it out and make it happen. Another one on Kickstarter, and that is freaking amazing and needs your help because they are aiming really high here, so do consider lending them a hand. This is Moon Samurai. I mean, seriously, look at this. It's insanely promising. Not only does it offer gorgeous pixel art with some real high pixel count for its sprite, but look at the animations. Hot damn, dude. Color me impressed. And the implications of such intrinsic combat animations is probably a real tough and methodical, non-button mashy action platformer of the highest quality. So yeah, this really deserves your help. Do check out their Kickstarter. I'll leave a link for it in the description, because in total numbers, they have been getting a whole lot of support. Over $30,000, which is more than most projects ask for. The only issue is that they kinda aimed real high, deservingly so, but I feel like that would require some real advertisement to succeed. So I'm giving them whatever help I can. I don't know any of these guys, by the way. I just really like what they're doing. So do consider lending them a hand if you can on this final week of the campaign. So alright, stay tuned for more, guys. Soon I will have a 360 video ready, then a cool new topic I've been meaning to tackle, and I'll keep the Switch games coming as soon as possible. Thanks for all your support. Consider subscribing if this was enjoyable or helpful. The channel has been recently growing some more, but still a long ways to go, so any help is much appreciated. Join the Discord server where I'll be doing some giveaways soon. Link for that in the description, and the Patreon page, also in the description, to help the channel directly with whatever you can help with. A measly $1 makes a world of difference. I'm not exaggerating here. If just a few more people would join in the Patreon with any amount, I could focus so much more on the channel. So yeah, thank you so much for the people who already help the channel directly. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.